Hi, thanks for watching. This is the Rooted by the Water series that we're doing every Sunday evening, and today we're talking about commentaries, but I do want to make a slight disclaimer. The title of this video is Bible Commentaries That You Can Trust, but a commentary is written by a human, and we all know how many mistakes that humans make, sometimes on a day-to-day basis. That being said, there are commentaries that you can trust more than others. But before we talk about my top three, and the ones that I would recommend for daily Bible study. This is not study for a class or a lesson or something like that. This is just something that you can use with whatever you're reading on a day-to-day basis. Okay, but before we get into those, I do want to mention just the hard copies that I have in my office here at the building that you can come by and borrow or look at if you'd like to. Some other commentaries that I'm going to talk about are going to be in my online or on my computer library, which I got in Bible school. Okay, the commentaries that I have that you can come by and pick up right now, if you wanted to, is the New Testament commentary. This one is by Guyan Woods, but this series right here, actually, each volume is written by several different authors, so I can't really speak for each of those authors and what they believe and if they're solid or not. I would assume they're pretty good, though. I'm a third-generation preacher, so a lot of the commentaries I have been passed on to me, and some of them are pretty old, which is not a bad thing, but sometimes that can make a text more confusing than it needs to be. But this is an option. I have the entire series of this. These are just two of the books that I have. If you'd like to come check these out, feel free to. This is a commentary by Klein. I don't have the entire series, but I do have the 4 synoptic gospels: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. So if you are studying one of those books and you would like to come check out this commentary, then you can come and grab it off the shelf. And if you do that, though, if you just come in and grab a book off the shelf, though, maybe just put a sticky note on my desk telling me that you did that. Okay. This is by McGarvey. You might have heard of McGarvey and his commentary series, but I do have the entire New Testament by McGarvey. You can come by and check him out. I actually like this one a lot because he breaks down each page in different blocks and small blocks of text on the top, and then he has the Bible verses down at the bottom. And so it makes it really easy to navigate, and the small blocks of text, for some reason, I find easier to read than some other commentaries that I have. But that's by McGarvey, and again, I have the entire New Testament series on that if you'd like to come and check that one out. Alright, these last two that I have in my office here are the ones that I probably use the most, the hard copies that I use the most. So we have the New Testament series by Brad Price. Looks like this. It's a navy blue with a black cover, or a black stripe down the side of it. But this one I really like. It's another one that's easier to read. It doesn't have the blocked out portions like a couple of these other ones do. It's actually like a full-fledged textbook style here. But that being said, it is easy to read. It's written in some very modern language, and I think that's a lot easier to read through than some of the older ones that I have. But if you want to check Brad Price out, if one of the books is missing from here, I think I have them all. If I don't have them all here, then I probably have them at the house. But you can check out BibleCommentary.com and find out more about this series, which I would recommend. And you can look into it for yourself and see if it's worth picking up or coming by and borrowing a copy. And the last one, which I'm sure you are familiar with, is the Gospel Advocate series, and that we have the entire New Testament here at the office that you can come by and check out as well. I use this one the most. Of any hard copy that I have, I use the Gospel Advocate. I really like this series. They have several editions. This one looks really old, but they have some modern or some updated editions that you can look into as well. And then last but not least, I have the commentary series by Clark's, and I have the entire New Testament. I haven't done a whole lot of reading in this. I flipped through it, but I actually don't believe I've ever used this in personal Bible study at all. But perhaps I will soon, and I can tell you more about it. But if you've heard of Clark's and you've heard some good things about it, then let me know, and also know that we have them here, and you can come by and check them out. So my top 3 recommendations that I'm going to have listed for you in this video made the top 3 because they are members of the church, and because you can trust most of what you're going to read inside these commentaries. And when you're doing personal Bible study, this is for your own spiritual benefit, and this is for growing your faith and making your own spiritual life stronger. You don't really want to be thinking about what bones you might have to throw out, what things that you're reading that might be accurate, might be inaccurate. So you don't want to be doing that, but I have the top 3 that we have here, but I want to throw out some that I'm not going to really talk about in depth, but they are suggestions, and they are books that some of you have sent to me and told me about. First one we have, Steve Carlton said he has a commentary by Holman, and he said he wouldn't suggest this for daily Bible study, but he does have that one. He said that when it comes to matters of salvation, he's off. So I would imagine that if Steve Carlton uses it, other than matters that pertain to salvation, anything else is probably a pretty good commentary series. I have not checked that one out, but I probably will do that. Okay, here's the ones that I have heard of that have made the list, but I'm not going to talk about in depth, probably because you've already heard of them. So, Kaufman. That one has been talked about so much, not just today. Before I did this video series, I sent out some text asking people about just making sure I didn't miss any commentaries for this video series, and everyone's talking about Kaufman. I don't know if I'm the only person, maybe here at Farley, that does not use Kaufman so much, but I'm glad that y'all are getting a lot of use out of Kaufman, and I guess I'm just going to need to start using him more. But Kaufman is very... he's not really in depth, but he does miss some things. I think it's all I'll say about Kaufman for now. But Truth for Today series, that makes my top 3, and I'll give you my top 3 at the end. But the Truth for Today series is probably one of the best commentary series that you'll be able to pick up in the church today. I think Truth for Today just does a really, really great job. One of my personal favorites is a commentary by Everett Ferguson, and that was also sent to me by one of you as well, and you know who you are. But Everett Ferguson does a really good job, and I have his commentary series online, so you can't borrow it, but I would recommend you looking into him. Living Word commentary series. Living Word also does a really good job. Very simple, very straightforward. So if you are just wanting to get an overview, or just you're wanting to get just the facts, and you want a very blunt commentary, then I think Living Word is a solid commentary for that, because it has great information, a lot of great information, but very straightforward. There's not a whole lot of fluff. There's not a whole lot of things that you need to get through just to find the answer that you're looking for. And that's one of the things going for the Living Word commentary series. My top 3 are commentaries by Truth for Today, which I already mentioned. Truth for Today commentary series are just going to be very good. Gospel Advocate series. Now, we do have older versions here, like I mentioned, but I would check out some of their updated editions of those commentaries that they have, which I would imagine are probably better. Just, if anything, they are aesthetically pleasing, and it will probably make you more inclined to pick it up and read it. Because if you're like me, and you look at a bookshelf, and you see a bunch of really old or dated books, and then you see some modern books, you might grab the more modern books first before the older ones. But whatever floats your boat. If you like the older ones, then you can pick those up. If you like the newer ones, then go for it. But Gospel Advocate has both. They have the old ones and they have the new ones. And then probably my top for personal Bible study would be commentaries by Dr. Denny Petrillo. Now, Dr. Denny Petrillo is the president of the Bear Valley Bible Institute, the school that I went through. He is a great and dedicated student of the Bible, and he spends a lot of time in God's Word, and he gave that knowledge that he has collected and has placed them into books and made commentaries, and his classes in school were some of my favorite. Especially one of the first classes that I took was on the Gospel of Matthew, and it was a powerful class. And I have his notebook that you can check out. It's not his commentary, but it is the Matthew notebook that they're all my notes from his class, and it can be used as a commentary because the way he structured his class was verse by verse. So I have the book of Matthew verse by verse, and then Denny's thoughts, comments, and notes on that. But any commentary by him, if you want to check out those commentaries, which again that makes my top for this list for personal Bible study, then you can go to wetrainpreachers.com, and they have a bookstore option where you can click on, check it out, and you can find his commentaries. And it'll be going to a good cause because that's going to the preaching school that develops produces preachers that are going to be filling some pulpits and spreading the gospel. But that's my number one. Commentaries by Dr. Denny Petrillo. Now, if I know we went through a lot of names and we covered a lot of different series, if you want to message me or send me an email at dale@farley@gmail.com, or you can reach me on Facebook, text message, give me a call, then I will give you my top three again, or just explain maybe some of these other commentaries that we just briefly went over. There are so many commentaries out there, but some are better than others, and for different reasons. And really, the commentary is going to, I think it is going to, much like a car, it is going to show your personality. If you are a very blunt, straightforward person, maybe you like a commentary that is written pretty much the same way. If you like commentaries that are more drawn out and more devotional style, maybe, that have more than just comments on the text, but also maybe they throw in some of their own application, then there are good commentaries written by members of the church that are written in that style as well. There is a little bit of everything. These videos are to give you plenty of resources to help you in your day-to-day Bible studies, hopefully to encourage you to read more and to eliminate some of those excuses that we make for reasons why we don't study the Bible enough. But there are ways to do that, whether that be listening to podcasts, watching YouTube videos, these commentaries, or a number of other sources that we've talked about already. You can study the Bible every day. It just comes down to desire, and it comes down to making that commitment to do so. But I hope this was beneficial for you. Again, if you have any questions about these commentaries that we talked about today, feel free to reach out to me, and I'll try and answer any of those questions that you have. But until next time, this has been Rooted by the Water.